Here is something almost nobody tells you when you are starting out with money. The people who end up wealthy are usually not the ones who earn the most. There is a famous study that tracked thousands of everyday millionaires, and one of the most common careers on that list was not doctor or lawyer. It was teacher. So if simply earning more was the whole secret, the math would not work out that way. The real truth is that wealth gets built from a handful of small moves that almost feel boring. And most people are never told what they are. In the next few minutes, I am going to hand you 7 of them, and the 5th one quietly does more for your future than the other 6 combined. Stick with me, because by the end, you will know exactly what to do today, not someday. If personal finance has ever felt like one giant confusing wall, you are not alone. Most beginner money advice online is either someone flexing a rented car or someone yelling at you to stop buying coffee. Both miss the point. Managing money well is not about punishing yourself. It is about setting up a few simple systems one time so your money keeps working even on the days you completely forget about it. These 7 money moves are the exact things I wish someone had handed me on day 1. They cost almost nothing to start, and you can begin every single one of them today. Let us get into it. Money move number 1 is to pay yourself first and to make it automatic. Here is the part most people get wrong. They wait to see what is left at the end of the month, then try to save whatever that is. The problem is there is almost never anything left because spending quietly expands to fill whatever sits in your account. Economists have a name for this. They call it present bias, which is just our brain caring far more about today than about a future version of us that does not feel real yet. So, you outsmart your own brain. The day your paycheck lands, a set amount moves automatically into savings before you can even touch it. Even $25 a payday works, because at the start, the habit matters far more than the number. And this idea is not some new internet trend. The phrase pay yourself first comes from a money book written back in 1926 called The Richest Man in Babylon, and it has outlasted almost every fad since. But automation is only step 1, because where you park that money changes everything. First, there is something you have to build before anything else. Money move number 2 is to build a small emergency buffer before you do anything fancy. Notice, I did not say a full 6-month emergency fund. That number scares so many beginners that they freeze and do nothing at all. So forget it for now. Your first target is one small cushion. Think $1,000 to start, or 1 month of the essentials. Here's the part nobody talks about. Researchers who study financial stress have found that going from 0 savings to even a small buffer reduces anxiety more than almost any other money change, sometimes more than a raise. It is not really about the cash. It is about no longer being one flat tire away from a crisis. That buffer is what stops you from reaching for a credit card every time life happens, which quietly protects every other move on this list. And speaking of where that money should actually live, that leads straight into one of the most overlooked mistakes beginners make. Money move number 3 is to stop letting your cash sit in an account that pays you almost nothing. Most people keep their savings in a regular account at a big bank, and many of those pay an interest rate so tiny, it is basically a rounding error. Meanwhile, high-yield savings accounts have been paying many times more. The gap between those two is what some people call the lazy tax. It is money you lose for one reason only, not moving your savings to a better spot, even though both options are equally safe and equally easy to reach. Think about that. Same money, same risk, and one version quietly pays you while you sleep, while the other pays you next to nothing. Moving your buffer into a high-yield account takes about 15 minutes, and then you never have to think about it again. Now here is where a lot of beginner advice hands you the wrong order of operations, and getting this next part wrong can cost you years. Money move number 4 is to attack high-interest debt before you chase anything else. Here is the math that should make you a little angry. The stock market has historically returned somewhere around 7% a year after inflation over the long run. A typical credit card can charge you well north of 20%. So paying off that card is like locking in a guaranteed 20% return with 0 risk, and almost nothing else in all of finance can promise that. There are 2 popular ways to do it. The avalanche, where you throw extra money at the highest interest debt first, which saves the most on paper. And the snowball, where you knock out the smallest balance first to score a quick win. Most experts will tell you the avalanche is mathematically better, and it is. But here is the contrarian truth backed by real research. People who use the snowball method are actually more likely to stick with it and become debt-free, because those early wins keep them fired up. So the best method is not the one that wins on a spreadsheet, it is the one you will not quit. Once that high-interest debt is handled, you are finally ready for the move that does the heaviest lifting of all. Money move number 5 is the one I promised you, and it is simply this: start investing now, even if the amount feels almost embarrassingly small. Here is why starting now matters far more than starting big. Picture two people. The first invests $200 a month, starting at age 25, then stops completely at 35, so just 10 years. The second waits, then invests that same $200 a month from 35 all the way to 65, so 30 years. When they both retire, the person who only invested for 10 years early often ends up with more money than the one who invested for 30 years late. Let that sink in. Less money in, fewer years, and still ahead. All because their money had more time to compound. Compound growth is often called the most powerful force in finance, and the cruel twist is that its most important ingredient is time, the one thing you can never buy back later. You do not need to pick hot stocks either. A simple, low-cost index fund that holds a slice of hundreds of companies is what a huge number of professionals quietly suggest for beginners. The hard part is not being clever. It is just starting. So what is the one thing stopping you from starting this week? Tell me in the comments. There are 2 moves left, and they are the ones that separate people who stay stuck from people who keep climbing. Money move number 6 is to track the one number almost everyone ignores: your net worth. Most people obsess over income, over how big the number is on payday. But income is not wealth. Plenty of people earning huge salaries are quietly broke because they spend every dollar that comes in. Net worth is simply everything you own minus everything you owe, and it is the number that tells the truth about your money. Here is the mindset shift. Once you start tracking it, even just once a month, your brain quietly starts optimizing for it. You begin to see paying off debt and investing as the same thing, both nudging one number in the right direction. What gets measured gets managed, and almost nobody measures this. Money move number 7 might be the most contrarian on the whole list. You cannot cut your way to wealth. There is a hard floor on how much you can save because your expenses can only drop so far, but there is no ceiling on how much you can earn. So while everyone else is fighting over the last few dollars in their budget, the quiet winners invest in one skill that raises their income: a certification, a side project, or learning to negotiate the raise they are afraid to ask for. A single strong salary negotiation early on can be worth a fortune over a career, because every future raise builds on that higher base. Saving protects what you have. Earning is what changes the game. The smartest move is to do both at once, which is exactly what these 7 moves together let you do. So let us pull this together fast. Pay yourself first and automate it. Build a small buffer so life cannot knock you over. Move that cash into a high-yield account so it actually grows. Crush high-interest debt with whatever method you will stick with. Start investing now, because time is the ingredient you can never replace. Track your net worth instead of just your paycheck. And never stop sharpening the one thing with no ceiling: your ability to earn. Notice that not a single one of these asked you to be rich already, or to be a math genius, or to give up everything you enjoy. Here's the real secret hiding underneath all 7 moves. Wealth is almost never built in big dramatic moments. It is built in quiet, almost boring decisions you set up once and then let run in the background for years. The people who win with money are rarely the flashiest. They are usually just the most consistent. You do not need permission, a finance degree, or a perfect moment to begin. You only need to start one of these today, then add the next one when you are ready. If this gave you even one idea you can use, do me a quick favor and tap that like button, because it genuinely helps this video reach another beginner who needs it. Subscribe if you want more straight talk about money with none of the confusing jargon. And tell me down in the comments, which of these 7 moves are you starting first? I will see you in the next one. This video is for educational and informational purposes only, and is not financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. I am not your financial advisor. Always do your own research and speak with a qualified professional before making any money decisions. As always, stay focused, stay consistent, stay elite.